You know, yeah, basically, if you could just give maybe as much time as you have sketch about how you see the House races shaping up and the kind of, political dynamics going into fall races.
Well, obviously things change year to year. In Virginia, we have a significant election every year, and you get a true pulse of what's going on. And obviously, the reason why Virginia has not had a governor of the same party as the president is because that's just the mood of the country. It goes back and forth. That's the normal check and balance between a vibrant two-party system in America. It's served us well over time, and I think we're seeing the results of that, obviously. Thanks, Randy. Anyone else?
Randy was telling earlier, and Bob Holsworth did as well, that partisan identification in Virginia has flipped. It is now, I think, 38-33 Democrats favored. Do you think that's more because the Democrats have registered a lot of new people, or because they have flipped people from Republican and Independent to Democrat?
I think they've registered more, but I think the independent voter, which is obviously a large voting bloc in Virginia, which has historically shifted over time, has swung and became less enamored with the Republicans in 2000. So the negativity with the Iraq War and obviously the economy at the end of 2008. So that was just, I think, one of those trends that people will swing on. 38 and 50. So that you still have about 30% literally up for grabs every year.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Dr.
Holsworth.
Sorry, Daryl Funk. I'm all right. How are you? Dr. Holsworth was talking about the Lynchburg race with Shannon Valentin. Do you think that there's enough, either with just the increase in Liberty students down there registered to vote, or discontent with her as a delegate to actually swing that this year?
I think there's an opportunity to swing that. I think it showed up in her votes recently that she's paying more attention to her opponents back home and what they might use against her in a campaign, obviously. Yeah, I think that's one of the dynamics that we see in college towns. Harrisonburg has had that role to play. We see that in the Valley and some other areas. But those are always new, vibrant voters, whether they show up for round two, if you will, is yet to be seen. But yeah, I think that's a significant part of that race going forward. It's obviously showing up in the incumbent's performance. Jim?
Saxman, Randy's.
No, I don't know who the Lions are going to draft first.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question. First question: will the Red Wings win the Stanley Cup? But I digress.
Not over the Penguins this year.
That's right. Randy's kept us pretty well sequestered today. So what is happening down on the House floor? And
well, right now we're in recess. We're waiting for the Senate to finish its business on the amendments. They're currently debating the unemployment insurance amendments that the governor's forwarded to Senate Bill 1495, which is Senator Locke's bill, and then they'll deal with the vetoes. Reason that the guns and restaurants issue will come over to the House. I think that veto will be sustained in the Senate. Those are probably the two most vibrant ones coming over.
Anything with Triggerman today?
That veto was not sustained in the House, and it is a veto in the Senate. And they put their vetoes off to the end, and they'll deal with those amendments. Those vetoes, so we'll probably see that one again in the House. It was a closer vote this time. It was 69-30 in the House. Got some more votes. Yes, sir. Rick.
I've got a question about a bill that was passed and signed by the governor. Given that market forces had led more than Virginians to ban smoking voluntarily, how can you justify passing a blanket smoking ban on conservative principles?
I voted against it.
Okay. How do the rest of the House justify it?
Well, again, it's actually 75%, and that was brought up in testimony in our Joint Commission on Administrative Rules. The Health Department quantified that 75% of restaurants in Virginia are already smoke-free. Interestingly enough, 75% of Virginians oppose smoking restaurants. I think that's a true reflection of the market in action. I don't justify it. I don't think it's a great legacy for the governor. You ban 25% of the restaurants from offering smoking to the wishes of the proprietor, even though he might own the land and own the restaurant. You take away that ability for that restaurant owner to make that decision. What's next? Going to start banning what they serve and what hours of daily operation. These kind of things really should be left up to the owner of the business.
I agree.
Okay. So I can't speak for my colleagues' motivations. Yes, sir.
Frank. I'm just curious. Do you have any, just in looking at House seats, which ones off the top of your head would think likely pickups for us this year? Which situation to get back?
Mine, first of all. I'd like to retain that. I do have an opponent who announced yesterday. Gosh, you know, I think the suburbs are always going to be in play. We have a great slew of candidates in Slate. We want to say slew is sort of a negative connotation. Slate of candidates in Fairfax. I think we got some good candidates down the beach, and those are going to be, I think, very competitive. I'm trying to find some outside the Golden Crescent that would be more volatile, if you will. Direct pickups. I think there's going to be some surprises. There's always a surprise out there. There's always one that you go, wow, didn't see that. That you pick up in some really tight polling that's going on in September, late September, and you take a shot at it. Winsome Sears' race against Billy Robinson back in '01 springs to mind. Something like that. You just got to pay attention to your polling and see how the races are doing and see what the candidates are really doing out in the field versus what they're saying they're doing out in the field. You know, they can be two separate stories. So. Yes, Crystal.
Yes, I actually do have a question. Based on the governor's recent approval of the HB 1587, the Real ID Act, do you think that the governor's proposals for the Real ID are going to pass through the House and the Senate, being that they're basically just a regurgitation of what the federal standards are? So it's basically just reinstituting the Real ID.
It's my understanding the Senate has agreed to the governor's amendments on Senator Miller's bill. We were debating that issue in caucus as I left. My sense was that the House would probably view it less favorably than the Senate. I don't know if it's going to pass or not. It's just that fresh. The delegate who was speaking to it in caucus was stating that the underlying bill is sufficient to do what we think Real ID ought to do, and that the governor's amendments probably go too far. So I think there will be an extensive debate on the floor, and you should listen to it. Yeah.
I don't know if you have enough background on this or not, but the governor signed Senator Cuccinelli's spending transparency bill, but then amended Delegate Klein's, which was the same language, same looking form, and he amended it like a whole new substitute. And the way I read it, it may have even been better. But did y'all acted on that yet? And what was Ben's position on the amendment? Do you know offhand? I know you have a million things in
Ben accepted the amendments, and we voted for it. He's my seatmate. Probably should have paid attention to that one.
Did he consult the patron on that this time?
That was interesting because we had a similar situation with Delegate Marshall's and Senator Watkins' bill on health insurance. A similar situation where he amended one in a different fashion to the same bill. And I don't know if he's looking for different action on the Senate and the House or trying to catch, or if it was political or policy. I don't know. But I don't know the strategy there.
But y'all passed the governor's amended one?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, for all y'all to know what I was referencing, if Ben Klein made something, I don't know, funny mention on the House floor. I think it was the last day or second to last day. He said he consulted the patron on the amendments, and he was the patron. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. We still make fun of it about that. Anybody else? No? Okay. Last time for something. Good deal. I think we can get back over sociology. Perfect.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Kind of go in your head and your chair.